We were up on the mountain Thursday, and we took a break at noon, and Kevin was having a pretty rough time because he'd only been hunting about 4 years.
We were drawing towards the end of the hunt, and I was getting pretty distraught about the whole thing, to be honest. Seeing all these elk, getting a shot at a couple, not being able to take them. Just the work it took, the early mornings out all day. I was getting really worn out, really tired.
And he was getting really frustrated because of all the bugling, all the elk, don't shoot, do shoot. You know, he was really getting stressed. And I talked to Shane on a mountain Thursday afternoon and said Kevin needed a day off, and Shane was very good about it and understood. And so we got in Thursday night, and we took Friday morning off, and which worked out really great. We went out Friday evening, got into a small bull, passed it up, come back, got up Saturday morning, and Shane said we're going to a whole another new area. And we went to this area, and about an hour after we got out of the truck, headed up the draw in the dark, we were hearing elk bugling everywhere.
We actually went to a different spot to hunt that morning, and on the way in the dark up this canyon, we heard several bulls. I would guess 3 or 4 bulls in the canyon.
We heard the same ones again, but we hear this one off to our right up this ridge, and he's really talking to us. And so we call him again, and he sounds like he's getting closer and closer.
As we were going in, that just got better and better sounding the whole time. You can kind of tell a bull by the way he sounds, how big he is, kind of with the guttural noise he makes in his bugle.
But it's still dark, so we kind of set off to go get this guy. So we head up towards the ridge towards him.
He kept bugling, kept coming in strong. Each cow call, we had to actually quit cow calling so we could get set up on this bull.
When we got set up and Shane got below us and give that cow, the one that counted, because you could hear him coming in a hurry. I was about 30 yards behind Craig and my son, and the bull you could just hear him coming down the hill.
The canyon or ravine he was coming down, Kevin and I got up in there in the trees and got set up. The guide Shane helped us out.
So me and Craig set up behind this log, and he's got his camera behind me, and I'm just in front of him, and this bull is just coming at us quick, and everyone's trying to scramble to get in their spots and just set up.
Mike Grasmick, or my good buddy, best friend, was set up behind me and Kevin about 15-20 yards behind a tree. He could peek his head out and see kind of what was going on.
And so we get ready just in time, and the bull's just coming at us, and the guide is calling him in. He keeps coming.
As that bull came down the hill, the guide got set up. He started a cow call, and man, that bull was screaming. It was just it'll make your hair stand up on your back when you hear this.
And I got a glimpse of him coming out in the open, and when he stepped out in the open, he quartered toward Craig and my son. I saw my son draw.
I get pretty nervous, and I just pull back immediately because I see him, which I shouldn't have done because I sat there for what felt like forever, just holding my bow back, and he's staring right at us, right at me, holding my bow at full draw.
He pulled his bow back, and I don't know, maybe 15 seconds too early, 10 to 15 seconds too early, not knowing that he was going to hang up there. So, and I knew we had a pretty short window when he came through those trees.
And I was just waiting for him to let the arrow fly, and it seemed like forever. I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I knew the bull was right there. and I couldn't understand why, because my son and Craig were right between me and the bull, so I couldn't see just exactly what was going on, but I could see my son in full draw for over 2 minutes, and I couldn't understand why he wouldn't let the arrow go.
As soon as he pokes his head through those trees, I hit my cow call. Looking back on the video, I think I hit it just a second too early, because when he came through that bush or tree, sagebrush there, he turned and faced us head on. Kevin didn't have a shot. Keep in mind, he's still at full draw.
And I can't do anything because he's kind of facing us, facing towards us, and I don't have a shot at him. I just kind of can see his neck and a little bit of his butt. I
told Kevin 3 times, hold on, Kev, just whispering to him out of the corner of my mouth, hold on, Kev. And the 3rd time I told him, hold on, he says back to me, I can't. And I see his bow go down on the corner of my eye, and he actually rested his bow down on his knee, and he kind of held his bow back still. His arm was starting to give out a little bit.
And I'm just holding it, and Craig's telling me to keep holding it, stay still, and he's just still staring at us. It seemed like forever, but finally he starts turning away from us.
After about 3 minutes, I heard Craig cow call again, which meant, I knew it meant the bull he stopped the bull from doing something.
And the bull kind of turned back around, gave Kevin a perfect quartering away shot. And at that point I saw Kevin, his bow had it had pulled his arm forward. All this time Kevin's at full draw. And if you ever done that, try to hold a bow back for 3 minutes and see how far you get. But as his arm was getting pulled forward by the string, the bull gave him the shot, and he actually jerked it back, pulled his bow up, and he made the shot.
And I just muster all the strength I got left of me and just let it fly, kind of. But I got a pretty good shot on him, and he took off. And
I heard that sound that you want to hear. You could hear the arrow hit the animal, and Craig and my son were giving high fives before I get up to him. And the bull took off. I run up there. I asked how good the shot was, because I couldn't exactly see, but obviously he had hit the elk. Craig, which knows more about hunting than I'll ever know, said it was a dead-on shot.
He sunk the arrow right behind, like the second to the last rib, and it went straight through to the other shoulder, it looked like. Perfect shot. The bull took off. He crashed down through the brush, down through the bottom of the ravine, up the other side, and he stood there and watched us, probably, I'm guessing, 80 yards away.
We all celebrated, and we're watching him as he kind of climbed this other ridge on the other side. And it was just pure adrenaline just going through me. I was just blown away about everything, how all this trip accumulated to this one moment.
Shane come running up there. We all kind of gathered our thoughts, and we looked on the hill just straight across from us, about 90 yards away, and there was the bull. You could see the arrow in him, and it looked like a perfect shot. And Shane just said, "Let's give it an hour."
The bull kind of moseyed up over the ridge and disappeared, and that's when the guide came up and we high-fived and gave everybody hugs and whooped and hollered and assumed that we had a bull down.
And we actually gave it about 2 hours, and the bull just kind of slowly, methodically walked up around the corner of the hill out of sight, and we thought everything was good. And
little to our surprise, we gave the bull about 2 hours before we moved, and that was the longest 2 hours of my life. I don't know, Kevin and I probably feel the same, but that was a long 2 hours to sit there and wait while you know there was a trophy bull up there laying with an arrow in it.
And so we get going, and we're following his blood trail, and it starts off pretty strong, a lot of blood, and then it just kind of...
It's amazing how far that bull went. I mean, we went that full day of tracking into darkness and through a rainstorm. At one point it started raining so hard we had to get back in the vehicles. The bull had gone down and crossed the road We lost all of his tracks, all of his blood. We were pretty convinced that we may have lost the bull.
After tracking it all day, losing its tracks, it rained Saturday afternoon. It was a real roller coaster ride. I can't imagine how my son felt. But Shane kept very persistent and wouldn't give up.
We keep trying to find our way, and we keep coming across little patches of blood here and there, but nothing really strong. So after like an hour, we're kind of standing around looking for more blood, looking for the next area to head towards, and I look off to my left across the canyon and I see this movement, and I'm like, that's an elk right there. And I tell Shane, our guide, that there's an elk over there, and he gets his binoculars out, and that's him.
Shane Stevers, that our guide, or Kevin's guide, actually was the first out after the rain stopped, and man, we didn't see that guy. We were out. Kevin was kind of hanging his head. He was disappointed.
And so we just kind of waited the storm out, waited for a little while, and got back up after him, trying to find out where he was. And we couldn't find anything. So me and my dad headed back to the truck. And then Shane was still up there trying to find clues and stuff. And after a while, he finally did. He found where he had bedded down.
And you couldn't see the blood, but if you picked up the dirt and moved it around in your hands, you could see red in your hands. So I knew he was on that trail. He told me, go back to the Jeep, get Mike and Kevin, and head down the road a little bit and make sure that the bull didn't go back across the main road. So we did that. Got to a point where Mike and I thought, well, Shane's got to be just upside the road looking for this bull. And we got out and walked probably 3/4 of a mile to a mile down the road, and we heard yelling.
When we got up to where Shane last saw the bull Sunday morning, Shane and my son took a track, and the bull mixed in with a couple other elk tracks. And so when we got there, Shane and my son took a track, Craig took a track, and Shane's brother John came with us. So John and I took a track, and about 45 minutes later, happened to be John and I were tracking the track we were on, and we looked up ahead of us about 100 yards, and there the bull was.